Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, good morning, Luca. Can hear you fine.
And okay, let me just unmute everyone. Jaya, if you don't mind, I've made you co-host. So if you don't mind letting people, oh, there's Duncan as well. Where's Duncan?
Yeah, okay, sure. Luca.
Okay, apologies. I had YouTube going on at the same time. Duncan, I will make you co-host now. There you are, done. Okay. Okay, let's get started. Everyone. I think a few people are getting caught up by the daylight saving time. As I got thoroughly confused by it. I hope you haven't either, but I know there are a lot of people that follow this thing from Australia and New Zealand. They're actually completely out of whack with the time of the recording. Okay, but we can see the team and Eileen are there. So it means that if you want to understand the timing, you can do it. You can do it too. So let's start talking about crypto, and then whoever wants to come and join us can come and join us. So again, another interesting week in the world of crypto. As you can see, again, prices going up, prices crashing down, and we need to understand, obviously, that we don't live in a perfect world, but we still are representing one of the asset classes that are exchanged in the markets, and we are let's say at the mercy of the market itself. In a sense that this week there was a kind of like a big announcement, and again, when we talk about macroeconomic announcements, they have more of an effect in the markets if they were not quite expected. And this week we were talking about a further tightening of monetary policy in the US. Okay, so it's been announced that the economic amount of money in circulation is going to reduce, where before the central bank was was easing monetary policy. So basically increasing the amount of money in circulation. Now is the other way around. Okay, so it is seen as generally as kind of bad news for the economy, because as there is less money to go around, so less money for businesses to to make money, and less money for people to invest in crypto too. So we are not an island from that point of view. The crypto markets are affected as well. But having said that, and there's little we can do about kind of macroeconomic policy. What we can follow is what goes on in the crypto world. And then, we know that the decision that we make based on the work that is being done are going to be successful in the long run. okay, because we're basing our decisions on facts rather than what might be happening elsewhere. So let me start sharing my screen. Here we go. So let's leave Zoom. And the first thing I wanted to focus on is, funnily enough, on the US Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen. Did a speech about crypto. And this is somebody that we didn't, even a few months ago thought that the crypto was the devil, by the way. So it is interesting. This is why I wanted to bring it to your attention, because you can see how the politicians change their language is because it's to reflect what the polls are saying and the kind of like interest that there is in, countrywide in the US in cryptocurrency. So they now are taking notice and they're starting to consider making policy about crypto. Okay, so this is some of the things that she said. Kind of the growth in digital services has opened a world of possibility and risks that would have seemed fantastic only a few decades ago. Welcome, well woken. Have you slept well today? Kind of like this thing has been going on for a few years, but it's good that you realize now. Anyway, the most important thing is this part really. And so first of all, what they are saying, the government's role should be to ensure responsible innovation, whatever that means. Innovation that works for all Americans, protection national security. So what he's saying basically, we want to keep our edge, we want to keep our lead, in whatever format we can give it. So basically is we are going to use this technology as much as we can to our own advantage. So at least this is what it's in their mind, okay? And this is what is revealed by the words that they use. But really, what they're saying as well is that the central bank digital currency for the US is still kind of like years away. Okay, so they're talking about major design and engineering challenge that will require years of development, not months. Okay, so that is already known. It's not something that you can launch quickly, but it is obviously something that they are considering. But the most important thing for me was this thing when she was talking about stable coins. And which is true, which is one of the probably one of the things in crypto where everybody will work on regulation. Because most issuers say that they back their coins with traditional assets. They're safe and liquid, like dollars, like bonds, etc., etc. This way, whenever you want to trade your stable coins back into a dollar, the company has the money to make this change. But right now, no one can assure you that will happen. Okay, and this is true. I must say, in this case, she's got it absolutely right. Okay, because there is no oversight at the moment about the reserves that each stablecoin holds. So we can kind of have to trust the stablecoin issuer that what they are saying is true. Okay, so a kind of regulation to tell us that there's at least an oversight of the composition of the backing of a stablecoin would be very welcome, because at the end of the day, if somebody tells you that they got some money in a bank account to support something that they're launching, well, I think is only normal that you ask them, okay, can you show us this bank account, please? Can you show how many dollars you got in there? So some regulation about stable coins. I think we're hearing now this from many different sources, from the US, from Europe, from Japan, South Korea, and so on, and Australia as well. So it is coming. So this is probably the first part of regulation would hit stable coins, and in a way it's very welcome, because this is the bridge between fiat money and cryptocurrency money. Okay, and in a way it will make it more visible and legitimize the the use of cryptocurrency for legitimate reasons. And we will see just this week what has been announced, which I think it's a seismic shift in cryptocurrencies. Okay, so at the moment there is the Bitcoin conference going on in Miami, and one of the big, two of the biggest names that you can hear, that have been talking about cryptocurrency in the, let's say, real world, are Cathy Wood, and I know that Roger always talks about Cathy Wood, like the leader of the ARC Innovation Fund, and Michael Saylor, which is the CEO of MicroStrategy, a company that very publicly has talked for Bitcoin, and they put all their reserves from the company in Bitcoin, and they also borrowed a lot of money, billions of dollars, and to invest in Bitcoin as well. So in a way, they were saying that at the Bitcoin conference, they did a victory lap, because now, you know, a lot of skeptics that were talking, you know, they were talking against them when they were talking in support of Bitcoin last year, where not many people, not many institutional people have come on board. They are now actually coming on their side of you know, of seeing the role of Bitcoin in the real world, and they now recognize it, and they were actually, you know, they were visionaries in a way, and the way they saw things was actually more likely to come true than not. Okay, so this is really interesting. So you can read these articles yourselves. This is in Forbes, by the way, so it's not in a crypto news channel or something like this. Is a more trusted source, to put it that way. Now, when we're talking about Bitcoin, another thing that we've been talking about for months here is the Bitcoin exchange balances keep going down. Okay, why does this matter? Because if people want to sell their Bitcoin, they need to first transfer them onto an exchange. So if there is a lot of money on exchanges, it means that people are getting ready to sell. Okay, and when people take money out of exchanges, it means that they are happy to kind of like hold it for the long term. So we can use the amount of Bitcoin on the balance of Bitcoin on balances as a measure to see what's likely to happen if people are getting ready to you know, hold Bitcoin for the long term, or if they want to sell it. Okay, and now, as you can see, the peak of money on exchanges was in March 2020. Anybody remember what happened in March 2020? It was when the pandemic hit, isn't it? Everything closed across the world. So that was like mass panic in a way. Where everything. So obviously people were panicking. They were ready to sell everything they had, because they thought that they wouldn't have enough money to buy toilet paper. You know, we saw, you know, are you joking? You're joking, you're laughing about it, but I remember not being able to find toilet paper anywhere in the supermarkets in March. The people that were buying trolley loads of it, you know, as if they were like barricading in their home for the next 6 months. Anyway, this is true, and you can see, as from the peak of 2020, the actual balance on exchanges has steadily gone down. And this is, you know, lately we've seen another drop. If you read here, you know, from a top of over 3 million Bitcoins on exchanges, then up to now, we've been between 2.5 and 2.7 million. And now in March, we actually gone down. We've broken this kind of a psychological barrier at 2.5 million, and now we've gone to 2.4 and so on. That means that there are less and less coins on exchanges. And it's the usual, you know, whenever you're talking about economics, you're always talking about supply and demand. So we're talking here about supply going down, demand staying strong and getting stronger. So, you know, I'm not saying that this will show straight away on price, but long term, supply and demand always win. Okay, so long term, this is creating a really hard push for prices to get higher. And this is why I'm bringing it to your attention. This is another statistics. For example, if you see the colors here, whenever you see the kind of the purple colors is when the whales are, so the big holders are accumulating coins. And you can see as this is going up, so there are more whales accumulating and the Bitcoin being taken off the exchanges. So these are kind of a buyers for long term. So there's lots of people at the moment accumulating Bitcoin and holding them off the exchanges. So taking them away because they are foundational assets for them. Now, on a different note, we're talking about Bitcoin being adopted worldwide. Now, again, we already talked about this rumor again, Mexican senator is talking about that the Mexican president is considering making Bitcoin legal tender. Now, this is, it's not just, I mean, I don't think that Mexico will adopt it tomorrow or anything like this, but there's now an industry they started to develop in advisors that advise countries how to move onto a cryptocurrency standard. So this is happening. It's no more like a will it happen or will it not happen? It's just like, when will it happen? Okay, and I mean, if you know, a big country like Mexico was to really take the plunge and adopt Bitcoin on legal tender, this could be like the start of an avalanche. But in the meantime, on a very, very small, I don't know if it says on this article or not, on a very small part, there are some two small countries that are already making moves. And one of it is it's a little island in Honduras called Prospera, the way they're creating, again, kind of like a Bitcoin community with kind of like without capital gains tax, and et cetera. And the other municipality where they're thinking of using that is the autonomous region of Madeira. You know, many of you from the UK would have had holidays in Madeira, which is part of Portugal, but as a special autonomous organization. So they are planning to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. So it's kind of little by little is starting to happen in pockets. So we've been talking about Lugano in Switzerland, you know, now maybe Madeira in Portugal. There were talks about Honduras as a country, you know, as well, adopting Bitcoin, but at least now this island that has, again, a special autonomous region within Honduras is adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. So these are just kind of little bits of noise that they are the precursor of a big move. Okay, we're talking about big move because we're not just talking about the price, how you can make the next whatever 10 grand or something like this. We are talking about something that there could be a complete shift in the way the world works. Okay, in the way the world exchange value. So it's a really big step if it was to happen. And by the way, it wouldn't happen without pain, because a move from fiat world to crypto world will include, you know, a lot of drama, you know, and we can see this in the real economies. Okay, you can see about how government and central banks are suffering right now because they have to choose between inflation on one side, and kind of like easing monetary policy because people are requiring more money to buy things that cost more. So, you know, the natural thing for governments is to give it to them so that they can carry on in this kind of like joke of carry on printing money, or in the other way, should we be responsible? We draw money from the market, like the US is trying to do right now, and as a result, then cripple the recovery, and then cause big issues in the economy that could mean a new recession. It could mean eventually kind of like bank failures and the real infrastructure that our democracies are built on to crumble. So it is a very hard choice at the moment. The crypto could provide a kind of like an in-between solution between kind of where we are right now and kind of like a new standard of let's say exchange, a new method of exchange that can be used then worldwide without being controlled by any one entity. On further adoption here, this is the first South Korean bank issues crypto accounts for corporations. Again, this is is big because they are again recognizing that now it's not just people like you and me, but it's big corporations now that want to trade in cryptocurrencies safely. So now banks are kind of in a position now. They either need to adapt or disappear. Okay, so what they are doing more and more is just using whatever they're strong at. The banks are known for custodying our funds. Okay, so they are offering this kind of like safe custodying of cryptocurrencies, and then making available to corporations to trade safely, knowing that the banks will custody the assets for them. And so they say the bank eliminates kind of risks of trading currency by using the Korea digital asset custody, which is something they set up in Korea, especially for that reason. Okay, so it is again another indication about big corporation now that they know that they cannot carry on without getting involved in cryptocurrencies. Okay, so, and these are obviously, before they can do that, they need a structure. So these are all articles that I'm bringing to your attention, because it's where this structure is being created. Okay, so once the structure is there, then people can access it. Now, this huge announcement on the Bitcoin conference, and we talked about El Salvador, and some of you might know, if you read about it, you read about how they did what they did. They've been through mainly an app called Strike and the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Now, the CEO of this app, called Jack Mallett, just announced at the Bitcoin conference that Lightning and Strike has connected to Shopify merchants, so adding the possibility of paying in Bitcoin through the Lightning Network. Okay, and this is huge. There's no means in my word. This is huge. This is what we've been talking about for months now. What did I tell you? That I'm never taking my cryptos back to the bank. Okay, because I'm going to use stuff like this, which you now will be able to use. So you buy stuff online, instead of using your credit card, your debit card, you can use your Bitcoins. Okay, and so this is the way now where the world is starting to really transact crypto to crypto. So this, you take the need of for a bank to be there away, because you can be your own bank, you can manage your own funds, and you can use them. You can get them. You can get your, in many places you can get your, if you're employed, you can get your wage paid in crypto. You can spend crypto directly. So you see how this can be revolutionary, because it's completely changing the banking industry potentially. Okay, so bear it in mind, especially as an investor, if you hold, like many of us do, either directly or indirectly, bank shares. So how are your banks dealing with this? Are they preparing for it or not? Are they accessing this new world, or are they just going to be spectators and just pass them by and just slowly become irrelevant? Because you might not, even if you don't have bank shares, but if you have a personal pension that you don't control yourself, your pension will be investing, this is guaranteed, will be investing in bank shares. Okay, so one way or another, you are part of this. And so if the old sector is being disrupted, you want to know, how they are dealing with it, the banks are dealing with it, or how your pension provider is dealing with the investment in this sector. Another news, still in the same thing, Bitcoin now will be accepted by McDonald's and Walmart. Again, you think that it's big? It's bigger than big. Again, this is massive. Walmart and McDonald's, I mean, the amount of billions they transact every day, it's incredible. So the fact that, again, not everybody will pay with Bitcoin, but now that you can use your Bitcoin is another outlet where to normalize the use of cryptocurrency. So it's now people are really understanding, well, I've got this stuff, nobody can touch it. So if I do put it under the mattress, it's still going to be there in 10 years, and I can use it to buy, my McDonald's, and if that's wanted, to do my shopping at Walmart, or whatever else I can use it for. or I can buy stuff online through Shopify. Okay, so this is just talking about, obviously we're just talking about Bitcoin, but Bitcoin in a way it's kind of the best known cryptocurrency, and the reason as well why many businesses, many institutions are integrating with it first is because it has liquidity. Okay, so and again, if you as a business, as you want to buy and sell things, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're able to get in and out easily, or whatever market you are integrating with. And at the moment, Bitcoin obviously has the biggest liquidity of the cryptocurrency industry. Ethereum is catching up, but still quite a way behind Bitcoin, and other projects are even smaller. So Bitcoin will come first. We'll see other cryptocurrencies come after that. I mean, this is just the first of many. But once retailers have seen the volumes, have seen the advantage of using this system, then it's just normal to them making more encompassing to the other assets they are available in the digital asset in the cryptocurrency world. Now, on a slightly different thing, I want to talk to you about the importance of cross-chain bridges. I know that depending on your experience in crypto, you might have used a bridge or you might not. Okay, but bridging, really, what are they? Okay, it's a way that you move cryptocurrency coins between one blockchain to another blockchain, where they were not meant to be for the first, to begin with. For example, if you wanted to use Bitcoin on Ethereum, then you will need to use a bridge, because you can't just use your Bitcoin on Ethereum like this, because it doesn't exist in the other world. So what you need to, what you do then with a bridge, just a minute. What you do with a bridge, let me see, here explains roughly how it works. So it's by creating two places on the two different blockchains, let's say blockchain A and blockchain B. So the bridge will lock the token that you want to transfer into a smart contract on one blockchain, and then release the token on the other blockchain. When you want to swap it back, you do the opposite. So you will burn the token that you created on the other blockchain and will release the token that was locked on the first blockchain. Okay, so this is what is called bridging, and it's a way of transferring assets in a decentralized world. Now, as cryptocurrency grows and becomes more accepted, then there are more needs of moving things around, because you might have your funds in one place but you want to use them in another place. So the availability of bridges is important, and so it is also important that projects collaborate with each other. Okay, so sometimes when looking at projects that you might think of as a possible investment, always have a look as well at what bridges are available, because with what other blockchains, because that means that whatever is being produced on the blockchain that you're considering could then potentially be used by users of other projects. And each blockchain has its own kind of cheerleaders, people that love that project, okay, and they want to do everything on that project. Then if you create a bridge to that particular project, it means that you attract some of the liquidity from the other project to your blockchain. Okay, so it is important. The more bridges there are that allow assets to be transferred easily, the better it is, because eventually we are moving towards a kind of like an internet of blockchain. Okay, so there are going to be many different blockchains that all interact together, and like seamlessly, the same way that we use internet now. So this is kind of like a funny kind of, there was an article here that I'm not particularly following this guy. I just saw the kind of the title. People should invest in all of the major layer ones. That means all the main projects. Why is that? So because, I get, talking about investing in crypto, a lot of people ask me about, what do you think about this new project or this coin that's just being released? And sometimes it kind of like, we got mentally, we need to understand what we're doing, because many people chase the moonshot, okay, something that could make them millionaires overnight. Now, there are 13,000 projects out there. So, the chance of you hitting a moonshot is very low, but at the same time, there is a very high demand for all the main projects. So you might not own a Bored Ape, for example, but if you are Ethereum, all the interest for Bored Apes would have reflected in the price of Ethereum. Okay, and the same is, for all the big projects, whether it's Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, Cosmos, Avalanche, whatever you're looking at, the main demand as the cryptocurrency world grows is for blockchain space. So for blocks, for people that want to write their transactions on the blocks. Okay, and so that kind of product is being provided by the main infrastructure providers. Okay, so when I talk about infrastructure provider, I'm talking about, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Binance Smart Chain. So those are the providers that have, a space on the block for you to write your transactions. Okay, and as this world grows, demand for that is going to grow. So sometimes, guys, if you're not that experienced in cryptocurrencies or whatever, don't go looking for the new development. Just concentrate on the big projects, because there's a lot. We're still at the beginning of this industry, so there is a lot to be gained simply by being involved in the projects that are going to be the pillars of this industry tomorrow. How are we doing? Okay, I'll just do a couple more things. Excuse me. And then we start taking questions. Another bit of news regarding Polygon. Polygon, or the token of Polygon, is Matic, and you might have known. Now, this is saying that releases a testnet plans for a new scalability-focused blockchain called Avail. Now, for those of you that know Polygon, Polygon came to prominence really last year in 2021, where it really exploded, when Ethereum was having issues where the transactions became very, very expensive for a period. Polygon is a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. Okay, so where you could move and again bridge your tokens from Ethereum to Polygon, do your transactions on Polygon at a fraction of the cost. Okay, and then if you want, you can move your tokens back onto Ethereum. Now, the one thing really, their unique selling point has been that they have invested a lot into scalability solutions. So all the scalability solutions that you can think of, that you might have read about in the news, Polygon has got a stake in it. Okay, they've invested in it, they created, so they have got several different solutions. And this is, so they got, these are the names, they have got two different scalability solutions. You can go and read them yourself if you want and get lost in the kind of like optimistic rollups, zero knowledge rollups, Plasma, whatever you can think of, they've done it. Okay, now, and what they are doing with this new blockchain, and the details are very sketchy at the moment, so they just put out the announcement, but they haven't really explained how it's going to work in detail. But basically what they want to do, they want to create a data availability layer for other scaling solutions like Optimism and Validium and other zero knowledge scalability solutions. Okay, so basically they want to move, because storing data online is very expensive. So they want to offer a solution where they can move this offline and do that in a seamless and trustless way. So that scalability solution then can concentrate on what they do best and become even faster and more reliable. So we'll see. I mean, if it's something that you are curious about, just follow the name and see other news releases when they release more details, and that can be potentially a project. I don't know if this project will have its own token or just going to be a business solution. but it could be something that it's interesting to follow, because I will say the one thing I must say about Polygon is they really have invested a lot in scalability. So so they are well poised to take advantage of a lot of the activity. As the activity will grow on the Ethereum network, they will take a lot of that traffic. And on the last bit that I want to share with you, talking about Terra, the token is Luna. So recently, they've been in the news because they started buying Bitcoin to support the Terra USD, which is symbol is UST stablecoin. Okay, so to give it to create some reserves that would support the price, even if there was kind of like a black swan event, like for example in March of 2020 when the pandemic hit. So to give it stability. So they've announced recently that they were intending to create a 10 billion war chest in Bitcoin. And they also recently, they announced they started buying other cryptocurrency as well. So in this case, they announced 200 million purchase of Avalanche tokens to back the USD stablecoin. What they're really saying, in this, and obviously apart from the fact that they see Avalanche as, again, something, another blockchain that is going to be there for the long term, even if it's, one of the competitors, I would say, in the decentralized finance space. But the one thing really that they are announcing, and they're saying that they are very serious about wanting UST to become the main stable currency in the cryptocurrency world. Okay, and they are backing it with a lot of let's say the tokens that are well known and well respected. So the people know where you're buying our stable coins. Really, we got all of this to support it with. They already, and by the way, all their purchases are spot purchases. Okay, so when we were talking about before, and I was showing you that the money is leaving exchanges, okay, they are buying them the same way that me and you could do it. So they're going on Binance, they're going on Kraken and buying Bitcoin there. Okay, and so this is part of the reason why you see these funds going down, because they're buying them off the exchanges and squirreling them away, in the cold storage. Okay, but at the same time, what these purchases are doing are creating real upward pressure on the price. So the main reason the Terra purchases of Bitcoin are the main reason for the recent increase in the price of Bitcoin, for example, up to almost touching the 50,000 level, because there is this very, very low supply of Bitcoin at the moment. And you might have heard that most of the Bitcoin miners at the moment, they're not selling, they're just keeping the Bitcoins they mine on their own balance sheet. This is all adding to the supply shock in spot Bitcoin. And and the effect is that when there is a big buyer like this, then the prices keep being pushed up. So so that was the announcement from Terra, and this is, again, if you hold Terra Luna tokens, you might have seen that they keep hitting new all-time high. So this is not is also something that is likely going to carry on for a while, because the way they do things, they're becoming pretty much the main competitors to Ethereum in DeFi. They become more and more well respected in that sector, in kind of like respected possibility and safe returns of their ecosystem, and this is talks within that narrative. Okay, they are acquisition of other tokens to support their project. Okay, so let me stop sharing, and let me start taking some of your questions. Anybody has any questions ready for me? Otherwise, I'll go in I'll check in the.
Alex has got a question in the chat box.
Okay.
Look, I can, because it's quite a long writing, so instead of you reading, I can just voice it over if that's easier.
Go ahead. Go ahead. It's better.
So the question came to my mind when you were talking about the Shopify and the Lightning Network integration, and we all know this is going to go, and this is going to become our life. In where the question is, as you said, it's not whether, it's when. But I haven't seen and have not read anywhere yet where people discuss not just whether the technology and the infrastructure and the adoption is there, but at the moment we base a lot of things on the coins and the value of the coins, but every coin is still referred in terms of its value to fiat, and that to me is equally big question and hurdle as the infrastructure, and that was one of the main points, because yes, we can start shopping completely only with crypto, but then that means that one day you're going to be able to buy a mansion and the next day you're not going to be able to buy even bread, if we don't solve the volatility issue. And then that to me is the biggest question. Well, not the biggest, but as big as the infrastructure as well.
Well, yeah, because at the moment, unfortunately, we are in a world where we use fiat money as a method of exchanging value. I say the volatility it's really as the technology get adopted. But if everything was priced in crypto, then there would be no volatility. The point is that we don't know at the moment the money in circulation. That's changing all the time as well. And whenever there is a new technology, there is a lot of speculation as well. So there is a lot of manipulation is almost part of the market. Yeah. Okay, so that is going to happen until it gets to we get to a critical mass, where the market is just simply too big to be manipulated. But we're still far away from that, because we're still looking at 1-2% of the share market at the moment. So we are at very least a couple of years away, the very, very least from reaching any sizable amount that can be significant from the point of view of keeping stability. But and the other thing is that when you say, yeah, we are exchanging value, so we're using crypto, but then people need to start exchanging their value for crypto in the first place. So if your value is stored in pounds, in dollars, or whatever, so first of all, there needs to be that kind of exchange first, or we need to be in a world where you receive crypto directly for the efforts, for your labor. So, and we're starting to see that as well, because there are now companies that are offering to pay their employees in crypto, for example. So the moment is, the idea is we get to the point where we are receiving crypto for our efforts and then using crypto to transact. And this gets almost kind of like, it grows all the time, because in monetary systems, one thing is the amount of money in circulation, and the secondly is the velocity of money. So the more you use something, then kind of like the GDP, the gross domestic product, is a product of the two. So the money in circulation and velocity. So if you had, let's say, $1 in a village, and that dollar is used once to buy, I don't know, a loaf of bread, and then the owner of the shop just puts it in his pocket and never gives it to anybody else, that's $1 in GDP. But if the same dollar, then the shop owner goes out and buys some flour, and then the person that was making the flour goes out and buy, I don't know, a toy for the kid, and he goes out 10 times, that's $10 worth of GDP, the same dollar. Okay, so that's the thing. One thing is creating the currency, the digital currency in the first place. The second is increasing the usage, and as it gets used, it takes more and more market share on the I would say the world of exchanging value. the market of exchanging value. Okay, and that's the real thing, and we're seeing, especially as the that taking place in a lot of economies where the traditional system has broken down. So you know, the El Salvadors of this world, or some African economies, you know, they have stopped, where people literally have stopped using the local currency, because unless they are forced to, they stop using it because they don't want to hold it, because it just loses value in their pocket as soon as it starts burning holes in their pockets as soon as they have it. So, you know, we are in a position where we are in countries, you know, in countries like Kenya, where the people started using mobile minutes to buy and sell things, or in Zimbabwe, that people are actually, shops are writing IOUs instead of giving change to people. I mean, we are at that level. Okay, so in these cases, we're seeing the cryptocurrencies become a real solution. And this is why it's important to, you know, even if it's insignificant from the point of view of economic importance, you know, if an island in Honduras accepts Bitcoin as legal tender, it won't make any difference on the world stage. But it is just now I think many different places are starting to realize that they can actually use this thing. So if El Salvador did it, if you know, Lugano does it, if Madeira does it, and there are more and more of these examples, then maybe it's something that we can do as well. And this is why it's important to notice these things, because they kind of like social proof that this is possible. You know, whatever you might say about El Salvador, they actually showed incredible economic results from the first 6 months of using Bitcoin. So, you know, we'll see then long term what this can change, but these things are being noticed, and they're creating ripples far and wide, because there are many people there, many well-respected, let's say, institutions like the IMF. They are spending a lot of their time talking down El Salvador, for example. You know, I wonder why. So
essentially, what we're saying is we need a full adoption in order to solve fully the volatility, and it's not going to be solved 100% because we don't have it solved even in fiat these days, and it's actually becoming bigger and bigger problem in fiat anyway.
Fiat is part of the design. That's the thing. The volatility, the inflation, and the system is set up to fail.
I guess the only problem for governments with crypto is that they just cannot go and print anytime they want and as much as they want.
No, it's exactly that, and this is why you hear at the same time there's a country that's saying that bans limits crypto, and at the same time the same announcement saying we have developed our own CBDC. I think, well, you either believe in this thing or you don't. So what's the difference? It's just that the only difference is that one you can control and the other one you can't.
Yeah.
You know, so. You're not saying that the technology is wrong, but okay. Another question. So look, Angie, I'm trying to move Harmony One from Binance to a MetaMask wallet. Do I need a bridge? And if so, where do I find the correct network? No. Okay, the bridge is only for you don't use a bridge with your exchange account. Okay, you use it with decentralized wallets like MetaMask. So it's just for moving things from one place to another. You would use the cryptocurrency, your simple Binance exchange. There might be a problem with sometimes some networks on Binance like Harmony, because at the moment there is a lot is being used a lot, the Harmony network. But what you can do in that case, you'll need to do something a bit more complicated. So transfer it to another blockchain in MetaMask, like for example Avalanche or Binance Smart Chain, and then from there you can bridge it over to Harmony. Okay, but we're talking about you. So you're a beginner question, Angie. If you are a beginner, you shouldn't really get involved with bridging. So I'm sorry to say that. I don't want to discourage you. But bridging is probably the most advanced thing you can do in cryptocurrencies, where most of the risks can be. So not only just bridging, but you want to make sure that you're doing things properly, because you can lose all your funds in bridging if you're not careful.
No worries, thank you.
You're welcome. Sue, what effect would the increased use of crypto have on existing tax systems? That's the way that. So this, I think Sue, for me, and I've been talking about for many months. I mean, the tax system could be coded within crypto transactions, if that's what we wanted to do. But for me, kind of like, it doesn't really make much sense to regulate things on a country level when our economy now is increasingly more and more worldwide, globalized economy. So the existence of all these different currencies, for me, doesn't really make much sense in the real world. And I think probably we'll see the next step, maybe a world where we have trading blocks at the moment with maybe 4 or 5 global currencies. But in the kind of like, if you're looking long term, you might have to look at one currency to be used across the world. And this is what at the moment what Bitcoin represents. It's nobody can control it, and nobody can control it. It's like governed by code, and it's kind of like immediately usable wherever you are in the world. From the tax system, it's basically then we have to think of it, for me, at least the way I see a different paradigm, because if we always start the discussion with, okay, we are here, how are we going to move there? But if we start again from afresh, so we're talking about moving to Mars. So how will the economy in Mars work? How are we going to collect tax in Mars? And are you going to develop a similar system that we have now in the UK, in the US, or anywhere else in the world? Or is there another opportunity? Now, there are systems with transaction fees, and there are already cryptocurrencies that support the ecosystem throughout the transaction fee taxing system. So it could be developed at a country level, and there are already examples of that. For example, with the Miami and Miami coin, and similar examples where they are generating revenue for their own town, for their own municipality, through the use of stablecoins. So nobody says that we need to be taxed on income, for example, because income tax is still, very recent in human terms. It hasn't been around forever. So it just again, something that we've come up with, and we're thinking, okay, let's do this to get enough money to be used on institutions. But there are other ways that things can be done, and I think it's I think at the moment we are getting to have that discussion. Okay, in terms of how cryptocurrency is taxed, at the moment, yes, it is an asset in the UK and in most other countries across the world. So it's taxed as capital gains. But so at the moment, the way, if you're doing your tax return, whenever you are either spending cryptos or exchanging cryptos, it is an asset transaction, and you have to account for capital gains, which is, I think, going forward, as people start using it more and more, this cryptocurrency is going to be a logistical nightmare, not just for us for doing our taxes, but if you're thinking about the tax authorities that need to check on these things, it is an absolute nightmare. But I always said as well that as this thing is being used more, obviously you'll be hard pressed to tell me that cryptocurrency is not a currency, but it is an asset. If people are using it every day, used to for small transactions, for buying coffee and groceries and things like this. So I think this is not a matter of how does crypto adapt to the UK tax system, but how does the UK tax system adapt to the way that crypto is being used. And I think I always said that as crypto develops, it cannot be seen as an asset, but would need to be considered as a currency, and then it all starts from there. Okay, other questions? Anybody with burning questions about crypto? No, maybe Duncan, you can show us some pictures of Roger in an armor or something like this. Hey.
Some pictures of Roger dressed up in Camelot Guard. Yeah,
Camelot
I saw
Guard or
that.
something like this.
Yeah,
something to refresh his call.
Most of us managed to escape that central humiliation.
I know. I was looking for you, so you obviously haven't been involved in that. But
well, no, I do think there's a certain amount of, like, you know, I don't know quite how to put it, but I was chatting to Andrew about it. There's a certain thing about that kind of group camaraderie where if you all do something not really, really embarrassing or, you know, together, potentially incriminating together, then it strengthens the bond, doesn't it, between
definitely.
the crew. So, you know, I think it probably served its purpose because it looked horrendous, didn't it, to be part of. But I know that they enjoyed it. They've all been saying how much they enjoyed it. So bless them. You know.
No, I just wondered if you were around, I would have invited you out for a beer.
Well, that probably would have been a bit more fun. I don't know. I don't want to say it. I've had COVID, so I haven't been anywhere.
Oh no! Are you completely past that now?
Yeah, we're all right now. Yeah, so last few days just getting back to it. But yeah, so that's been me. I certainly haven't been to Camelot, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to pull any swords out of any stones over the last week or two.
Okay, for those of you that are not part of Genius U, I mean, this would be completely like a double grit to you, but there's been a meeting. There has been a meeting of Genius U influencers, you know, all dressed as Camelot. Okay, question from Paul. Interesting to see UK government today. The system can recognize as of yeah. I mean, Paul. To be honest with you, anything that comes from the government at the moment, you can just completely ignore because they're a bunch of muppets. That's my comment. Okay, and they keep announcing things, and they're just not doing anything about it. I mean, we got really a muppet at the moment in charge, and I'm surprised that they actually haven't had a muppet made up, you know, with his moped. but it's just there's enough said about the UK government. I wouldn't take much notice of that, especially as you're talking about stablecoins at the moment. Most of the crypto companies are running away from the UK because the FCA has put really stringent regulation in place that are impossible to adhere to. So basically, all the innovation, all the companies have done good work now are moving away from the UK. Okay, so take it as with a pinch of salt, because that's what it is. You know, it's just words, and they keep coming out with these things like snippets to sound good, so that people will even look at them, aren't they good? And they're good, but then they never do anything about it. So we'll see. We'll judge them by their action rather than by the headlines. But I have read that as well, and I thought, yeah, waste of time.
Luca, with regard to next Friday being Easter, is that going to be at the same normal time, despite the day being Easter Friday?
No, actually, I think I forgot there was Easter Friday next week, so I think we'll take a break for a week. Easter Friday, so I can for once have a lay in and we can spend it with our families, because the kind of Easter is a time for family. So we can catch up in 2 weeks time. Especially because I'm getting kind of like a Zoom fatigued at the moment. I'm having so many Zoom things, and I can't stand it any longer. So I will come in 2 weeks refreshed, and I will have more material to talk to you about. Okay.
Right, and also with regard to transferring from the Harmony 1 from MetaMask to DeFi Kingdom, what's the actual first step?
It's from MetaMask to DeFi Kingdom. So you mean from the Harmony blockchain to DeFi Kingdom blockchain?
Yeah, okay, that way. Yeah.
You just use the bridge, 2 minutes. Normally takes less than 30 seconds.
And it's done within DeFi Kingdom, is it?
No, it's done through a bridge. So you move in between blockchains. You're going from Harmony to DeFi Kingdom. DeFi Kingdom is a separate blockchain. So on DeFi Kingdom, you go on the, DeFi Kingdom is on Harmony. So you will be on the Harmony blockchain in MetaMask. And from there, you go onto the bridge and you select the DeFi Kingdom blockchain to move your funds to. And you approve the bridge and then you click on bridge and it's done. 30 seconds done.
So you use that Viper swap, or can you do it on Viper swap?
You don't need to. You can do it directly from DeFi Kingdom.
In DeFi Kingdom.
Yeah, there's a bridge in there that you can use.
Right. So that's under Trader, is it?
No, is in the docs.
Docs. Okay, right. Thanks.
Okay, so, and again, for those of you that don't use this, is kind of like a DeFi game that we've been playing. So if you haven't understood what we're talking about, don't worry about it. You don't need to. Okay, if you want to know more about it, then come and join us and play the game. Okay, guys. So we come to the end of another enthralling hour. Hope you enjoyed it. And before we go, because it's Easter as well, and we all feel good about ourselves and we do things. So the first thing that we'll ask you to do, please go to the Genius U, to the circle. So Crypto Investor Club circle, and please leave me a nice review. Okay, so you can do that as a list for coming in here, and so more people get to hear about it. Okay, so it's very easy. You just go on to review, click on reviews, and you can then, there's a chance for you to leave a review yourself. Okay, so I will see you back here in 2 weeks. So next week it's Easter. Team was reminding us. We'll take a break on Easter Friday, and I will see you the week after. Okay, so goodbye, everyone. Have a fantastic Easter, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Luca.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Jaya. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Luca. Have a great Easter.